Hi, it's me again. I wanted to talk about some principles of high magic today and some of the deeper esoteric ways of creating. I wanted to talk about first universal laws of the universe. Then I wanted to talk about how to create thought forms. I'm going to talk about some of the deeper esoteric concepts of sex magic. And I want to also relay a few stories so that you can avoid the pitfalls that I have committed and avoid the consequences that I had to go through. So that's basically where I'm going with this topic today. One of the things I want to start off with is the laws of the universe. First of all, I wanted to separate the laws of the universe with our laws, the laws of society, and how we deem our moral values, and then compare that with universal laws and actual laws by which the universe is run, because they are not the same thing. First of all, people presume in many cultures that they will set up a law or a moral value that serves a purpose, and because of that it is good. I deem it as good because it serves a practical purpose. But they will often, in order to enforce those laws, especially through religions, they will then take those moral values and present them as a universal law, which is not the truth. Now, their moral values may serve a purpose, and in that they're functional, and they are deemed good, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with living by those principles if you choose to. But at the same token, do not be presumptuous or arrogant enough to assume that those moral values and those laws that you have set up to live your life by reflect the universal laws by which the universe and all creation functions. Because the universe is run by specific laws. And the truth of the matter is, those laws are laws and principles, and you cannot break them, even if you wanted to. Here's the universal law. Physical matter, such as quantum particles, cannot travel faster than the speed of light. 186,000, I think, miles per second or something like that. But you cannot travel physically beyond the speed of light. Here's a higher universal law, though. There are such things as, within the fabric of space-time, folds by which you can travel through these folds and surpass space-time completely and go from one extreme of the universe possibly to another extreme or across the galaxy. That's a higher law, and they don't conflict. It's just one supersedes the other. But yet both are true. They are laws. You can't break them. Here's another law. Physical matter is governed by gravity. Now, try to break the law of gravity. Now, you can probably use higher laws to overcome the effects of gravity, but you're not breaking it. Then again, you're tapping into higher universal laws. The laws of the universe cannot be broken, and the laws of conventional morality serve a purpose and a function in our day-to-day lives, but they can be broken. Now, here's another law by great spiritual teachers of the past. You may have heard this law, but never quite considered it in its depths. As you believe, so shall it be. That's a law. So now, if you take your moral law that a society has set up for you, and you believe in eternal consequences, be it a heaven or a hell or a punishment of some sort, you are going to experience your belief. Not because your belief is based in a universal law, that's absolute, but because the universal law is, as you believe, so shall it be. As you create, you'll experience the consequences of your creations. That's the law. Then that's what you're going to experience. And then those individuals may cross on and beyond this life and experience for a while the heaven or the hell or the beliefs that they had cultivated in this life and mistaken those for universal laws, without realizing they are actually tapping into a higher law of, as you have created during your life, so shall you experience and beyond. So be careful what you believe in, and do not deem that universal laws can be broken. I want to show you a book that I suggest you maybe research on the internet, and I thoroughly suggest that you get. It is called the Kabbalion. It is a Hermetic philosophy. Now, the Hermetists were, the word Hermetic comes from Hermes Trismegistus, which is a person that we know very little about because he was a wise teacher, philosopher, and mystic, one of the wisest in the history of humanity that pre-existed the Egyptian days. And the laws of Hermetics were things that he taught. And these are the universal laws by which the universe is governed. And the Egyptians tapped into those laws through his teachings thousands of years later in ancient Egypt. And these are the laws by which they created Egyptian magic, which were later learned by the Hebrews. And the Hebrews tapped into these same laws that I'm going to go over and teach you, and kept them sacred. And a lot of them were written in the inscriptions of the Ark of the Covenant. Now, that's not the only place they were recorded, because the Hermetic tradition has passed on through secret societies beyond the days of the Hebrews, as Israel was dispersed and the Ark of the Covenant was either taken and put in a very secret, sacred place where people guarded it and guard it to this day, or it was lost entirely. I don't know. But there were inscriptions and teachings upon the Ark of the Covenant that only high priests and kings of Israel, such as Solomon, David, and the various kings of Israel knew about and practiced, that the populace of Israel did not know about. And it wasn't because the priests were trying to keep it secret so they could hoard power. It was because these principles, if you do not follow some of their practices in an advanced way, there are negative consequences. And I'm going to go into some of that I've experienced myself. I thoroughly again suggest you get the Kabbalion. And these are the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus that has been passed on from generation to generation. If you want to know the author, it is written by the 3 initiates. That's who wrote it, who wrote this book, who were taught these principles, and remain anonymous. Prefer to call themselves the 3 initiates. It is, well, I'm just gonna let you research that on your own. It is within access of you. It's not something you're gonna find just at any old bookstore, though. You're gonna have to research it. And I want to share a few more human conventions that are not reflections of a universal law, but yet serve a purpose in society and the way we live our lives. Here's a universal law that is shared by many, many different cultures and is deemed something that deity or the universe holds as a universal law. Not to commit fornication. Okay, that is a tradition that many religions have. Now, there are some purposes for that. Maybe one of those purposes were that people anciently realized that in order to fully perpetuate the human species and continue to have the human species function in a positive way, children need both a father and a mother, or that kind of situation works better. The father can then provide for the mother, and the mother can help to feed the children, and society progresses. If you have situations where people have children out of wedlock, it was harder to reach that goal. And so there is a moral standard that people live by that they've created to help society function. Now, if you commit fornication, you're not going to die. Okay? You're not going to disrupt the way the universe works. There is not some higher power that's going to then take you. That kind of consequence has been placed upon a moral convention in order to enforce it. Now, there are higher laws, though, that as you create, you'll experience. So if you did create a situation where you brought a person into this world, and then that person received suffering because you neglected them or you did something like that, then that is eventually going to come back to you. Maybe not in this life, but eventually. Time and space do not function the way we think of them in this life. So